Amidst the vast western mountains stands a peak filled with primeval power and wondrous life, Mount Chongwu. This is a domain sealed by time, nurturing life vastly different from the mundane world. With the form of an ape, its body is adorned with magnificent markings like those of a leopard. It clambers among the ancient giant trees, as if treading on level ground. Strength is the brand etched into its very bones, and it is also its most direct weapon. To conquer this perilous mountain forest, traverse this dense wood, and what you shall next behold is the most paradigm-shifting existence on Mount Chongwu. A symbiosis born of incompletion, a celestial sigil that foretells calamity through flight, The Manman. In form like a wild duck, yet by nature incomplete, a single bird possessing but one wing and one eye, the creations of heaven and earth, as if a silent and cruel jest, were played here. A lone Manman can only falter in the shadows, yearning for a sky it cannot touch. Only when destiny unites it with another of its own fragmented kind can they achieve graceful flight. With their bodies, they piece together a complete dream of soaring, a dream of flight. Yet the ancient legends of Mount Chongwu cast a pall upon this wondrous sight. When their twinned figures grace the horizon, it is the inauspicious omen passed down through generations. It is the silent harbinger of tempests to come, a somber prophecy of deep waters soon to breach the low banks. Bidding farewell to Mount Chongwu, we journey 350 li to the southwest, skimming past the desolate Mount Changsha, then veering north for 370 li. What was once the legendary pillar supporting the heavens, which then came crashing down, the fragmented expanse of Mount Buzhou unfolds before us. Mount Buzhou, its very presence, is a frozen echo of antiquity. Behold its form, cliffs as if hewn by blades and axes pointing toward the firmament. Upon the mountain's body are scattered grievous, startling fissures and crumbled faces. The sharp angular rocks lay bare their menacing forms, as if silently recounting a cataclysmic impact. As legend tells, the ancient Water God Gonggong vied with the Emperor Zhuanshu for dominion. Defeated, he struck Mount Buzhou in a fit of rage. That impact was not merely a turn in mythology. The mountain's very foundation as the pillar of heaven was utterly sundered. In the instant the celestial pillar crumbled, the earth quaked and the mountains trembled. The waters of the Silver River cascaded into the mortal realm. The story of Mount Buzhou rests for now, but the pilgrimage through the classic of mountains and seas is ceaseless. 420 li to the northwest, a peak flowing with sweetness and sunlight. Mount Mi resides quietly, veiled in cloud and mist. Upon setting foot on Mount Mi, the most striking sight is the Danmu Trees covering the slopes. Their bodies a thorough crimson, a hue both rich and profound, as though they have drawn the most fervent essence from the earth's heart, glowing in the sunlight with a warm, steadfast luster. In late spring and early summer, the Danmu tree blossoms with vibrant yellow flowers. The blossoms, though small, gather in clusters, like flecks of gold adorning every bough. Once the petals fall, the branches bear A churning spectacle. Bubbles rise and break. A misty vapor hangs in the air, as though the earth is gently exhaling its most treasured ambrosia. What is more wondrous still is that if one uses the spring water from this source to water the Danmu trees and persists for a span of 5 years, those trees will undergo a profound transformation, revealing 5 distinct and harmonious, magnificent hues, and exuding 5 layered, rich and fragrant scents. This chapter of Mount Mi is a lavish feast of nature's bounty. Its sweetness and colors shall now be set aside. But the scroll of the classic of mountains and seas continues to unfold. Westward 460 li lies Mount Zhongshan. Yet, the path to that solitary peak is no easy passage. We must first traverse that vast, profound, and nameless marsh where infinite peril lies hidden through the seasons. The classic of mountains and seas forewarns, within this marsh dwell countless creatures of grotesque form, and savage nature, wondrous birds and strange beasts. They are the true sovereigns of this domain. Bizarre, seldom seen, and exceedingly perilous. The ancient records speak true. Strange birds stir the fetid mists. Monstrous beasts stalk the viscous mire. Peculiar fish navigate a darkness the eye cannot pierce. They are not creatures of malice, but the native haunting nightmares of these dead waters. Every footfall is a potential step into a snare. Every breath, a risk of startling a predator in its lair. Every backward glance, a fear of being fixed by a cold stare from the turbid depths. The phantoms and miasma of the nameless marsh at last become a lingering memory behind us. That peak of isolation, Mount Zhongshan, now stands cold beneath our feet. But the marvels of the classic of mountains and seas are inexhaustible. Westward, a mere 180 li, the bold silhouette of Mount Taiki springs into view. This torrent bursting forth from the heart of Mount Taiki is the legendary Guan River, mother of countless tales. It follows not the common course of rivers eastward to the sea, but with an unyielding forward resolve. It rushes ever westward, cleaving mountains and splitting valleys, traversing the vast and desolate lands, until at last, without reservation, it pours into the boundless shifting sands. The clamor of the day recedes into the earth of Mount Taiki. In this silent interlude between day and night, from the depths of the Guan River, a life abiding by an ancient lunar rhythm is quietly stirring. This spectacle of a flock flying beneath the moon is one of the most incredible phenomena penned by the laws of nature. As ancient legends passed down through generations tell, its flesh, both sweet and sour, can cure the frenzied mind. The night the Wenyu fish take to the sky is an omen of a plentiful harvest. This mountain of life, which defies the common order, is thus chronicled here. Yet this is no end, but the prelude to a new chapter. Directly west, 320 li hence, we have reached Mount Huaijiang. Everything here is suffused with a sacred aura. For it was here that the Yellow Emperor, Xuan Yuanqi, cast off his mortal form and stepped into the timeless immortal realm. However, the path to the celestial sovereign's dwelling is not without its warden. The solemn duty of guarding this sacred ground belongs to an ancient celestial god, Yingzhou. This is the celestial god Yingzhou. The body of a horse grants him the power to traverse heaven and earth. The face of a man symbolizes the wisdom and spirit to commune between heaven and earth. The tiger stripes that adorn his form are an emblem of a guardian's might, proclaiming a majesty that cannot be transgressed, and his pair of great wings are the very instruments by which he patrols his domain and carries out his sacred charge. His very existence is a clear and insurmountable boundary. The mists of Mount Huaijing enshroud the legend of the emperor's ascension and the eternal vigil of the god Yingzhou. Now let your gaze follow mine 400 li to the southwest. For there lies coiled the true secret heart of the classic of the Western Mountains. Its name alone is enough to stir the soul. The ancestor of a myriad mountains, Mount Kunlun. Mount Kunlun is no common mountain range. It is the heart to which all other mountains pay homage. A kingdom of stone so vast as to steal one's breath. The very air that permeates this place is ancient, majestic, and admits no sacrilege. For this is the terrestrial capital of the Yellow Emperor, Xuanyuanxi, his lower palace in the mortal realm. Every stone is etched with the seal of the sovereign. 4 great rivers of disparate character, cradles of civilizations, are born from the frozen heart of Mount Kunlun. They break free from the mountain's embrace, surging forth toward the 4 corners of the world. The vista is magnificent, the roar of the water deafening. The celestial god Luwu reveals himself. His form, the body of a tiger mighty as the mountain itself, with muscles coiled and taut, containing a power sufficient to shake the very peaks. His gaze is sharp and imperious, utterly devoid of emotion. 9 flexible, powerful tails sway slowly in the air. Each subtle movement seems to silently delineate the inviolable boundary of the divine. Yet even under the watchful might of Luwu, lethal perils lie veiled in Kunlun's shadows. Through the valleys wanders the strange beast Tulu. Its form is like that of a ram, yet all gentleness is absent. Its horns, like the scythes of death, are its most conspicuous mark. The words of the ancient texts are cold and certain. The Tulu is a devourer of men. It is the silent and savage predator of these secluded ravines. The cold stare of Luwu is perhaps the unseen shackle that restrains this savage beast from its rampage. Here in Kunlun, death can be as silent as dust, as swift as lightning. This fearsome flying creature is called the Qinyuan. It resembles a venomous hornet in shape, yet is no larger than a mandarin duck. But its most fatal feature is its tail and the stinger that gleams with an ominous dark light. With but a light touch of that venomous needle, any bird or beast, no matter how robust, will perish instantly. Even the great trees rooted in the earth will wither and char to black in a single moment.